in the studio, but welcome, Ahmed Jaji.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Right, let me begin with you now, because Fred has spoken a lot with regards to the crisis in Rivers State, especially with regards to the statement made by the governor just yesterday when he was swearing in the Attorney General and the Commissioner for Justice of the state, where he said that jungle has matured and that they are going to have a probe of the previous administration's 8 years before he came in. What's your perception of what he said?
Well, to some of us, we are not surprised because that has been the game of the leadership, in quotes, of the political class. If it hadn't been because of the misunderstanding between them, will anybody be talking about any probe? And even if you go ahead to probe, if in politics, things are not static, they are in a state of flux. Your friend today might be your enemy tomorrow, and day after, reverse to the status quo. But what we are saying is our leaders, those who are fortunate to be in governance now, should focus on societal development, not personal aggrandizement or, whimsical feelings and whatever. Whether you probe the previous administration or not is nobody's business. What you are in government for is to develop.
But he is working within his rights.
He's working
within his rights to probe. He can go ahead.
No, I'm not disputing the fact that he has the right to probe or not to probe. But the fact is, the state of the nation today, we don't want to be distracted with personal, issues. Where we want to focus, we want our leaders to focus on development.
So you think his decision is a distraction?
Maybe, yes. Because if he hadn't had problem with a section of the State House of Assembly, if he hadn't had a problem with some Wike, who has a bag of, a baggage of his own problems too, nobody will hear about any, probe. But what some of us are saying and insisting is that if you are fortunate to be in leadership position now, especially in Nigeria now, please focus on developmental issues. Whether you probe, even those who have not been probed, those who have been found to be, in quotes, guilty, are busy running around all over the place, dressing women, clothing and whatever. And those who even had been probed before and found guilty, what have
come out of it?
What have come out of it? So Nigerians are tired of those distractions. Focus on developmental issues. What are those issues that will lift an average river person out of the, doldrum? That's my own.
Well, and that is why he said he's going in this direction, because he seems he needs to begin to take on the reins of the state, and, the people must feel the dividends of democracy, why they voted him in, even though he went ahead to make a statement that it is God that brought him in, even if some other persons are saying that they made a mistake as it is to have supported his emergence as governor. So perhaps he wants to begin on the path of probing activities, like we saw even his predecessor, Nyesom Wike, do to his own predecessor, Rotimi Amechi, at the time, probing the activities of the governor. But the issues, talking about the state of assembly, like he rightly pointed, and you also spoke to before we went on the break, talking about how it is that there were integrity issues with that house where they were, that building or structure where they were. Some members of the APC at the, I think, National Assembly went there to investigate and check what it was, and they saw that everything, according to them, was intact as it is. Do you think that this matter?
You mean the legislative quarters?
Yes, they went to check some days ago and found out that because they went in with some experts to check about the integrity of the structure. Do you think that this matter is something that the handling of this matter is something that both parties really need to address and put in mind the people of the state at the heart of it? Recall that the president had stepped in at some point at the beginning, and they both agreed to the agenda that was set by the president. But the dimensions things are taking especially with regards to the legislature, is something that is concerning because of the provisions of the Constitution as it is. We saw that a speaker had emerged, even though they had about 4 persons or so, or 3 of them. And there are those who are saying that 4 persons cannot adjudicate on the issues of the state.
You have brought in so many issues in the same question, Victoria. But let me just quickly tell you.
Take them one after the other.
Let me tell you that if he says that it was God that brought him, everybody in power was given authority by God. But God didn't buy his form. And God did not campaign for him. Somebody bought his form. Somebody campaigned for him. Somebody stood strongly behind him. And somebody ensured that over and above all other contenders that he emerged. So they should stop using the name of God in vain. The Bible is against it. And then they should play their politics. And if you now begin to say, oh, that the probe is within his right, no argument about that. He's within his right. In fact, we call on all others to probe others. For every government that has existed and left, it should be probed. Because even in small associations of our relation, in our small CDAs,
yes,
they probe. You may not call it probe. Give account of your stewardship. There's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely, there's nothing wrong with it. So you should not make a mountain out of a molehill and begin to make it a very big issue. It is not. It is within his right. Let him go ahead. But the underlying reason behind the probe is what has become questionable. And that is what I agree with my brother here, that it has become questionable. Why have you instituted the probe? If there was no problem, would there have been probe? Now, Mr. President delved into their matter. Many people have, on account of that, unduly bad-mouthed Mr. President, that he wouldn't have, or that he sided one side, that he supported Nwike because they are close in Abuja, and because Nwike is his man Friday, and then they were serving him as a minister. But Mr. President couldn't have kept quiet when a major part of the country is sinking in crisis, political crisis. And when they now came out from that meeting, nobody has told us the truth about what transpired. I said so advisedly because the cacophony of issues that we kept hearing, the cacophony of different opinions that we kept hearing indicated that possibly there was more to it than ordinarily meet the eye.
Right.
But the little we have seen, has Simi Fubara not handled the matter the way and manner he was asked to? Those who defected to APC were allowed to come back. Even Martin Ambewule was returned to his seat as Speaker. The commissioners who resigned were all brought back. What else did you expect him to do? And what is that estate of Nwike that Simi Fubara is destroying in rivers? That is a critical question. He said, oh, he is dismantling his structure. Did he demolish his house? Did he abandon, drive away his family members? What structure did Nwike build that Simi Fubara was dismantling? That the whole river state, a state of over 3.5 million people, will be in turbulence on account of 2 men who used to be friends and now foes. Would political disagreement translate to demolition of the state? So, I stood by Mr. President in his attempt. His attempt may be political, but those who say it is one-sided, I do not know, because I don't have all the details. But at least I know that from the information we got thereafter in the media, that Simi Fubara had kept his own side of the bargain. Now, what is the problem? Why has rivers now turned to such a jungle? Who is causing it? And that is why many people are asking Mr. President to call Mr. Nwike to order. Nwike himself, in not one time, but several times, said and even swore that he will never, never disturb the person who will come after him. He gave an instance that Odili was the governor, he never disturbed anybody. Amechi was governor, he never disturbed anybody. Before Odili was Rufus Ada George, in 1992, who Odili was the deputy governor, Rufus Ada George never disturbed anybody. That he will never, never disturb the man who will come after him. What is happening today? He is now claiming that the man is dismantling his structure. And I ask again, which structure? Wike was the one who said they don't know the Lagos. When he was trying to dismantle the pseudo-phantom structure of Adesam Shomole in Edo State, when he was supporting Obaseki.
Right.
He now brought that slogan, Edo no be Lagos, and was badmouthing President Bola Tinubu then, as well as Bola Tinubu, who was not a president there, that the way he did it in Lagos, that it cannot be done in Rivers State. The rivers are different. What is happening today? Tinubu has now proven to be a master, which Wike should learn from. If Tinubu has been managing, now you can no longer call it handling. You can call it managing, in quote. He has been managing Lagos since 1999 till date. We should go and ask him, bend down and learn from him. How have you been doing that without crisis? When there was issue between Tinubu and Nambode, was it not handled well? When there was issue between Tinubu and Fashola, was it not handled well? No. Did Tinubu break down the House of Assembly of Lagos State because he wanted to bring Fashola to obey? Now, some charlatans have now come out in their numbers to be singing, Simi must obey Wike, Simi must obey Wike. I pity the people of Rivers State who don't know that their house is being set on fire. I pity them. But they should all speak in one voice and they condemn the attitudes of these two men, Sim Fubara and Nyesom Wike. Right. If they had any problem, they should go and solve their problems and leave the people of Rivers State alone.
They have elders.
Democracy stands for development, not demolition or destruction.
Right.
That D in democracy is for development, not demolition or destruction.
Right.
The people of Rivers State will hear this.
Absolutely, and I know they know that.